Hey team, I'm looking for your feedback on the design I'm creating to display many machines for one runner. This specifically will happen if someone uses the same authentication token to register many runners with our new registration flow. More information can be found about this use case in this issue. And so what I did here, the biggest thing I did here was try to differentiate those runners that have many machines from the runners that don't. The runners that don't are, you use the auth token to register them once and never use it to register another runner again. So to do that, I added this icon now that might represent machines. I still have to get feedback about this design. And then I added the total count of machines, but all of those runners will still contain the same ID and the same token. So those pieces of information up here apply to all machines. And so does the configuration. So the tags, if it's locked, and assuming the type, so the project group, or if it's an instance runner, and then if it's a project runner, the owner project would also be applied for all of those machines. The other things that, and the description would be for all of them. The other things that would be different for them are versions. So in this case, I ended up just totaling the number of updates that were available. And then the other one would be when it was created and when it was last contacted, as well as IP address and jobs, but we'll get to those things later. The only thing I added here was when the last machine was created and by who. And then the other thing that I summarized are the statuses. I did pull out the actual text from the statuses because as an edge case, if somebody decided to create, I don't know, 200 runners with the same auth token, then if you imagine having some stale, some online, some offline, some paused, some running, and some idle, those statuses would really pile up and make that row height pretty tall. So I decided to remove the text and replace and just rely on the icons, which also meant I had to create icons or use icons for running, which I just pulled from pipelines, and then idle, which I ended up using waiting from pipelines there. What gets even more interesting is when you decide to view the details here. So here's where I'm thinking of using a drawer. Again, I still am working on the design, but this feels better to me than the other iterations I created. So all of the attributes that are shown up here apply to all machines: the description, configuration, max job, timeout, and tags, which we talked about before. And then we summarize the statuses up here, not including running and idle, and then just include project. And then this is exactly how it is today. But I removed when it was created from the title up here. And then you have machines now, and you have machine details. But what I did here was I have machine details expanded by default so that you can just look at how whatever the machines are and compare the status and whatnot. I assume machines will have separate IDs. We'll need that because of the jobs. So I just created whatever 1 and 2 for the machines. And then another very fun and interesting thing is that you can pause, I believe you can pause and delete each of these machines, but you cannot edit them because editing them would actually be editing all of them at once. So I decided to keep edit at the top level, and then I only allowed pause and delete down here. And then also when you edit this, you should be able to delete the full runner, which I don't know if we want to allow doing that because that would in turn delete all machines. So maybe we remove the ability to delete. We'll have to figure that out. I didn't think about that. And then for the jobs, this is where the machine ID really comes in handy because we'll have to add another row for machine ID. And by default, filter so that you're showing all machines, but then the user can filter so that they only see jobs run by machine 1 or whatever. So yeah, it's pretty complicated at the moment, and I think I'm still missing some requirements. Maybe that have already been implemented on the back end or whatever. So please provide me any feedback that you have thus far. Thanks.